Dear respected Thay, dear beloved community, are you ready to let life move you? I don't hear a yes. Are you ready to let life move you? Yes. Thank you so much, Brother Michael, for the beautiful offering. And thank you, dear Sangha. Lovely, lovely voices. I'd like to invite the whole community to please sit relaxingly with a back upright and allow the cells in our body to relax. Allow them to move freely. Let the life inside of us move freely with peace. May the sound of this bell penetrate deeply into the cosmos. Even in the darkest places, may living beings hear it clearly so that we can transcend anxiety and sorrow. Dear respected Thay, dear beloved community, my name is Sister Boi Nghiem, Sister Trooper, not Trooper. My pronouns are she and her. I am known as Plum Village Oprah. Yeah. If there's one thing that you'd like to remember about me, please know that I'm the napping nun. Yes, and we all love to take our naps, right? Don't we? Who here likes to take your nap? Elders and youth, we all love our naps. And I'm so grateful to be sitting here today, to be with all of you. I thought before we start, wouldn't it be wonderful if we could sing a Vietnamese song together? Yes? Who here wants to learn how to sing at least one Plum Village song in Vietnamese? Okay, so that means you have to sing correctly. Promise me that you will enunciate each accent mark correctly, okay? I'd like to invite us to learn how to sing the song Breathing In, Breathing Out in Vietnamese. I don't know if monastics and friends outside listening in Vietnamese, if they could hear the Sangha in here sing. If not, then please just send us your peaceful energy. So you may repeat after me. You may close your eyes. Quay về nương tựa, 2, 3. Hải đạo tứ thân, sáng xa gần. Hơi thở là pháp, bảo hộ thân tâm. Năm uẩn là tăng, phối hợp tinh cần. Let us do the movements. Now we may close our eyes and look at Như-Mai. Thở vào, thở ra. 2, 3. Là hoa tươi mát, là núi vững vàng, nước tĩnh lặng chiếu, không gian thanh thang. Let's do that part again. This time, let us sing louder and everybody do the movements with us. Thở vào, thở ra, là hoa tươi mát, là núi vững vàng, nước tĩnh lặng chiếu, không gian thanh thang. Wow, you all are Vietnamese. Thank you. That was beautiful, wasn't it? Thank you for singing with us. Dear Sangha, welcome you all to Lower Hamlet, the most beautiful Hamlet of 3 Hamlets. This is from Sister Gina, Sister Boi Nghiem statement, who was an abbess here for 16 years. So it must be a true statement. But we know we also love to visit Upper Hamlet and New Hamlet and Shanha as well. And welcome to our intergeneration panel sharing today. Today, I'd like for us to visualize this session as like a fireside chat. Perhaps some of us might know the history of fireside chat, and some of us might not, so I just like to share a brief history. And it's quite interesting. The term fireside chat was inspired by President Roosevelt's press secretary, Stephen Early, who said that the president liked to think his audience as a few people sitting around his fireside. And President Roosevelt, the President of the United States, gave his first fireside chat in 1933 to address the banking crisis. Today, we will also talk about a crisis. As we know that we experience poly crisis in this present day. And fireside chat are meant to be informal and casual conversation with people that perhaps who have interesting stories and insights that could share with us. And of course, people who are not afraid of public speaking. Are you afraid of public speaking? Yes? Then why did you say yes to us? Because I asked, maybe I volunteered. So it's a back and forth conversation. And it's an informal conversation, so we want to make it as relaxed as possible. I prepare about 15 questions. I love to ask questions, don't you? Yeah, life is interesting when we ask questions. And I have shared these questions to our panelists, and they have chose the questions, and some did not choose, so I would just ask whatever I want. And of course, they have the right to respond to the questions or not. We all have that choice. Before we go into the fireside chat, I'd just like to give a brief introduction of the panelists up here. Sitting next to my left is our elder, Shelley Anderson. If we could all bow and send our greetings to Shelley Anderson. She's currently practicing with the Sangha in the Netherlands. Anyone here from Netherlands? Can you raise your hand? Wow. Thank you for being here. Shelley took the 14 mindfulness in 1994. Who here was born in 1994? Yeah. And the rest of us were already born, I assume? And received the lamp transmission in 2022. Anyone here received the lamp transmission with Shelley? We have one down there. Two. Wonderful. She worked much of her life in the peace movement, especially with the International Fellowship of Reconciliation, where she organized trainings in active nonviolence for women in conflict situations. And here's an interesting fact about Shelley. She learned a lot of useful organization skills when she was in the US Army. So be careful. Be careful when you are near Shelley. Sitting next to Shelley is Brother Michael Ciborski. We asked each panelist to write a short bio about themselves, and everybody did except Michael. So I will just make up. It's good? Okay. So let me know if what I say is true or not. This is what happens when you don't do your homework. Brother Michael Ciborski ordained as a monk in 1996 with Sister Boi Nghiem, a coconut family. And at that time, he shared with us that globally, there were 160 OI members. 30 years later, in one transmission ceremony, we have 160 ordaining. Isn't that amazing? Brother Michael traveled with Tay to United States, China, and other countries to help lead mindfulness retreats. And in 2003, he returned to lay life and later on found Morning Sun Community with Sister Fern, his wife. Anyone here come from Morning Sun Community? Wow, welcome. And Brother Michael composed a number of music for Plum Village chantings, like the Four Recollections, the Refuge Chant, and the Heart of Perfect Understanding that we chanted many, many years, like at least 20 years. We are very happy to have Brother Michael, his beloved wife, and 3 children. Are you in here? 3 children? Are you sure they're outside or going somewhere? Okay, your dad hoped that you are somewhere in Lower Hamlet. Thank you, brother. Did I share everything correctly? Okay. And next to Brother Michael is Như-Mai Nguyễn, True Garden of Practice. Chân Hành Uyển, pronouns she, her. She was introduced to Plum Village tradition in 2009 and has since served as the North American Wake Up Coordinator. Who are the Wake Uppers? Can you raise your hand? Oh, beautiful. Completed a year-long residency at Blue Cliff Monastery and served as digital coordinator for Thich Nhat Hanh Foundation. She has traveled on teaching tours with monastics, Dharma teacher Chân Huy, and Terry Cortez Vega, and is a contributing artist to the Plum Village app. Can you share with us what did you draw, or what artwork did you do for the Plum Village app?
Some of the music is me singing.
Did you know Như-Mai wrote the song? The sun is shine on my face and on my eyes. This is it. In March 2026, Như-Mai received the lamp transmission here in Plum Village, one of the youngest Dharma teachers. Currently, Như-Mai works as a licensed clinical social worker, providing psychotherapy to students at Rice University. And she also supports her local all-ages Sangha in Houston, Texas. She enjoys hiking, rock climbing, reading epic fantasy novels, and spending time with her three-legged cat. Thank you, Như-Mai. And one of the stars up here, Ernest. How do you pronounce your last name, Ernest?
Okeyo.
Okeyo.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you. Ernest is a filmmaker from Nairobi, Kenya, a content curator for Living Gems and the Online Monastery, and a community builder for Zen and the Art of Saving the Planet, ZASP. He is also the co-founder of Asili Sangha in Kenya and a recently ordained member of the Order of Interbeing. Yeah. Let us listen to one sound of the bell. Dear beloved Sangha, when we come to Plum Village, there are a number of words start with inter. We often hear interbeing, interrelated, interdependent. And today, I think for the first time, we will have a deep dive into intergeneration. Why? Maybe some of you might wonder, do we have this session? There seems to be a lot of love between the elders and the youth. And sitting here, we are all ages, from 20 to 80. So why is it necessary for us to have this session today? Because we love each other so much, and we want to show our love, express our love through words, and also to create mutual understanding, respect, and support for one another on the path of practice. That is another reason why we're here. As we know that the Sangha is not perfect, and we do make each other sad, hurt one another through our words, through our misunderstanding. Perhaps there are certain views that as elders we have toward the youth, and certain misunderstanding that the youths have with the elders, and we want to share that openly. As family, we share our joy, our happiness, as well as our challenges and our misunderstanding. And how often is it that we have 900 people gather here one brown family. That is why we call this a brown table talk, even though the table is white. And as we've seen that in past years and recently in different sanghas worldwide, there have been disharmony between the two generations. So coming here to a root place of the Plum Village tradition, how can we uproot this disharmony and this misunderstanding so that we can have roots of understanding and love for our trees to grow bigger, wider, and provide more shade and oxygen to those who come and take refuge in us. So Như-Mai, as the youngest person sitting up here, when you hear the word intergeneration, what comes to mind and what does it mean to you?
Dear friends, when I hear intergeneration, I do think of age. That's the first thing that comes to mind. Differences in just the elders and the younger folks. And at the same time, I also think of a new cultural generation, a new generation of practitioners where, as you mentioned, Sister, 30 years ago, we only had 160 OI members worldwide, and they looked a certain way. And this week, we ordained about 160 OI members, and they look differently. And so we have a new generation of practitioners as well. And so not only do I aspire to bridge the gap between the elders and the youth, but I also aspire to bridge the gap between cultural generations.
Yes, so the word intergeneration can have multiple meanings, and I hope that all of us can reflect into this and define that word for ourselves. And sitting next to me is an elder who received the 14 mindfulness trainings in 1994. And so may I ask, what is your aspiration as an OI member? Like when you received the trainings, what was your aspiration and how has it evolved over time?
Thank you. I didn't know what I was getting into when I took the 14 mindfulness trainings. I took them because I knew that the 5 mindfulness trainings felt like protection. I knew that when I was confused about something, or particularly upset, or I couldn't decide the right path that I wanted to take, or the right decision, that the 5 really helped. So I thought, okay, the 14th, I'm going to get more protection. I did have questions because I remember asking an older Dutch sister, Dharma sister, how I didn't feel worthy to join the order. And she laughed. And the question of worthiness it wasn't the issue. The question was, could these trainings help me, and could I help the trainings? I think my aspiration has always been to try to cultivate peace, both in myself, and this is where the practice has been a treasure, fantastic, practical, and to cultivate peace in the outside world also. I don't think my aspiration has changed. I think it has deepened. Because I can see how the practice changes people, how the practice makes people happier and kinder to themselves and to everyone else and to other beings. So I see more and more the value and how essential the practice is, and how essential the values that are encased, accompanied inside 14 mindfulness trainings, how it's so essential if we're going to continue to have a planet and to live on this planet.
Ernest, as the youngest OI member up here, you're wearing the brown robe for, I think, for less than 7 days. Do you know what you're getting yourself into? What is your aspiration? Is it harder to wear the OI jacket since the retreat is nurturing the fire?
I hope I do know what I'm getting into. Only time will tell. But for me, my aspiration for joining the OI comes from a deep desire to unite my people. I come from a continent where we have largely been exploited through being divided, because it's very easy to divide us into tribes. And back home, my wife and I have founded 2 sanghas. And these sanghas have managed to bring together people from different social classes, from different tribes. Our sangha has 4 different tribes in it. You know, white, black, Asian. And in the history of my life in Kenya, I think this is the only thing I have seen bring people together in this way. So I think my aspiration is to plant the seeds of living in community and unity, because then this is an answer to decades and decades of exploitation. Yeah.
Brother Michael, I know that as monastic, after 1 year we ordain, automatically we receive the 14 mindfulness trainings. So we didn't have to go through the whole process like the lay friends. And I wonder, when did you receive the 14 trainings? And did you have an aspiration back then? Or the Sangha just say, now you don't have a choice but to receive them?
Thank you, Sister. Actually, I received the trainings before I became a monk. Yeah, in the year before I became a monk. I had already been living here for some time as a layperson, and found my way in through the mentoring process. If you lived in Plum Village, was basically if you're here for a year, right? So that happened. I have always carried an aspiration to live in and build intentional community that is carrying intentions maybe a little different from mainstream society. And I arrived in Plum Village with a strong aspiration for that, knowing that I wanted to be a part of transforming our world in a beautiful way in community. And Plum Village certainly offered that opportunity to explore that. But what really shifted for me and held me, it was finding through Thai's teaching an orientation inside myself for that, right? Not just outer action, but the understanding that whatever was going on inside of me is going to be coming out of me in how I offer myself in the world. And when you put that together with community, it becomes very powerful, as we know. And yeah, that is what brought me into the OI. But then it was only 6 months after my OI ordination that I then decided I would become a monk. So,
Are you trying to send a message or something?
it would be lovely.
Yeah, so for those of you who received the trainings a few days ago, you have 6 months. And brother, how old were you at that time, if you don't mind me asking?
I arrived in 1994 here also. I was 22. So before Wake Up, Wake Up. Yeah.
Before Wake Up, Wake Up. Thank
Yeah.
you. And this is a wake up that wake up, right? Could you share with us your aspiration?
I received the 14 mindfulness trainings when I was 24. And the aspiration was simple. I just loved the 14 so much. And I wanted to express them and live my life by them. And I wanted to practice them deeply and serve the community. And that was it. And I don't think my aspiration has changed in the past 10 years since receiving the 14. But maybe in the way that I express the 14, or maybe the way I serve has changed differently. Where at the beginning, I was doing a lot of organizing and being in the front lines of Sangha building and a lot of facilitation and a lot of time just planning meetings. But now, as I see the need in the Sangha, I see my role is changing as more of a mentor and supporter.
Before I ask the brave question to Shelley, I'd like for us to listen to one sound of the bell. It was a few days ago that Shelley and we had lunch together, and she wore her signature bag that say, "You have enough." And I asked her, what is it that you have that you would consider yourself a rich person? And her response was very moving, so today I'd like to ask you that question again.
Dear Thai, dear beloved community, I am very rich because I have connections with people. I have a Sangha. I know that I am loved and that I can love. And I'm very rich because I know I have a place in people's hearts.
May I borrow that microphone, please? I have love and I can love. Thank you. Perhaps in your life you have been surrounded with many young people and you love them and they love you. Is that right?
Yes. I'm trying to think where this is going.
I'm Plum Oprah, so you know, before you ask a question, you gotta go in slowly, right? And then bang. What is one question that you always been curious to ask the youth, but haven't found the courage or the right words to say?
I did ask a difficult question last year. Our neighbors invite us to a Seder to celebrate Pesach, which is always a gift because I'm not Jewish. And they have 2 young children. And I know that the youngest, who was then, I think, about 18, and I asked her, what do you feel when you think of the future? And she looked at me and said, fear. And that was very difficult, and I remembered that question. So the question I would ask young people, and I would try to listen very hard to their answers, what do you think your future looks like? Because I think it's up to all of us, and especially I feel I want to apologize on the part of all the elders of the world that you don't have the future you don't right now, you don't have the world that you deserve. We could have done better. We tried our best. And I wish very much that it was a better world for you. So that is the question I would ask.
Thank you so much for your love to the youth. I think we all can feel it. Your life experience is very rich. And there are few people of us in this Sangha who are experiencing aging, which many of us will experiencing aging one day, or currently is. So can you share with us an insightful experience you have as an elder and relationship you have with aging? Many of us might be fearful of aging, but it seems like you're not fearful, I think.
This is not the question I was expecting. I've been thinking of the stereotypes that young people might have of older people and the stereotypes older people have of younger people. And then I realized that I also had to look at the stereotypes I have about aging. And I was raised in a culture where to be old was to be invisible. And I realized that there were seeds of some fear in me about being old, that I would be invisible, not heard, maybe even considered a burden on society. And that what I very much want to contribute and to help would be ignored. What I have found about growing older for me is through sharing with the queer annual retreat and with the annual wake up retreat in the Netherlands, I have found a community of people who do listen to me, who do respect me, a community where I can help people by sharing experiences I've had, by trying to practice deep listening and loving speech. And I have found a lot of meaning and joy in this. And I do not think I would be able to contribute what I have if I wasn't older. I think there are a lot of fears about growing old, and it is, it's a time you develop skills with letting go. So it's a time where, at least in my experience, I feel more and more inner peace and inner calm. I don't have to prove anything to anyone anymore. I don't have to have ambition. I can give that up. But there are also things I have to give up that I wish I didn't, and that it can be difficult, such as being able to walk without help, being able to hear without help, being able to see without help. So it's a process for me, it's letting go, but there's also something very beautiful in that. And I've also learned that part of that letting go is people helping me and asking for help.
As a person, we love to have deep connection with the people that we are with, whether they are with our family members or colleagues, Sangha friends. And they really help to enhance the meaning, more meaning in our life. So Ernest, I'd like to ask you, can you describe a moment when a young, or let's say in this case an elder, can you describe a moment when an elder person truly touched your soul? And what was present in that moment that allows such a deep connection to happen? And can we bring that into the Sangha?
So, as you've mentioned in my bio, I am a community builder for Zen and the Art of Saving the Planet. And as part of my work, my wife and I, we do very simple outreach events in our home for the young people in our neighborhood to kind of introduce them to the practice, but in a very edible way. And so this one time last year, we had such an event with young people in our home, and I was giving a talk about breathing. And this talk, I found a lot of inspiration from the teachings of Joanne Rosen on trauma-informed mindfulness, because Joanne Rosen's teachings are very relatable to people in my society. And so we did that, and it was very well received. Many of the young people joined ZASP after that. And during a debrief of the community builders meeting, I explained how we came to do this event, and particularly the talk I gave and how it was inspired by Joanne Rosen's teachings. And then after this debrief, one of the other community builders messaged me. Her name is Susan Paulus. I think she might be here somewhere. And she messaged me and said, "Oh, I am very good friends with Joanne Rosen. I've told her about you and what you're doing, and she is very interested in meeting you and your wife." And this was the beginning of a beautiful mentorship for months now, where we meet with Joanne and we discuss her book, Unshakable, and we discuss particularly methods of teaching that are accessible to young Kenyans. And this would not happen, first of all, without Susan opening the door and not holding on to resources for herself, opening the door for us to have a chance to meet Joanne. This would not happen if Joanne didn't have the heart of transmission to the younger generation. So this has been amazing for us, because as somebody who loves teaching, you can imagine the type of transmission I've gotten in the last 4 or 5 months of being mentored by Joanne. But it started with a nice gesture of somebody opening the door. Yeah.
When I heard your question of what's a relationship with an elder that really touched me, I have to share so much appreciation for my mentor, Terry Cortez Vega, who's the only English-speaking Dharma teacher in Texas. Well, now there's a second English-speaking Dharma teacher. But the most meaningful thing that I received in her was that she really believed in my practice. She really, truly believed in my capacity to practice. And as a young person, especially as an Asian American woman, sometimes I can have a struggle of being taken seriously. Where sometimes there's the stereotype of, we can have stereotypes of young people, and sometimes it's a challenge of mine to feel that I'm being taken seriously. And when I approached Terry about my aspiration to ordain, to become an OI member, she didn't question it at all. She said, "Yes, you can, absolutely." And she took me in her arms and we began this journey. And the most beautiful thing was when maybe I would facilitate, and maybe it's not so smooth, but she would still come up and share the appreciation of the things that went well. And she would give me a hug and say, thank you for doing that. Or she would give me opportunities to, she invited me to go on tour with her. She went on a teaching tour. And I think, oh, I'm a young person, what can I do, what can I offer? But she still invited me to facilitate certain practices when going on teaching tours with her. And so it felt very meaningful to me that she really believed in me. And it's a little mysterious how one becomes a Dharma teacher in North America. It is still mysterious to me, but I do know that someone has to nominate you, or several people have to observe your practice and nominate you to the Mahasangha. And I know that Terry was one of the first to nominate me. And so I just have to offer so much appreciation for that belief in my capacity.
Brother Michael, you have the fortune to have close contact with Thầy for quite a number of years. So can you share a memory you had with Thầy which taught you the importance of connecting and appreciating elders and youths in the Sangha?
I think so. There are many beautiful moments of learning with and around Thầy in my memories. Maybe I can relate this to both a deep joy and a difficulty. There was a moment as a young monk, a young person practicing in the community, also carrying my understandings and my ideals from before into my life as a monk. You know, when you go through the door of ordination, everything in the past doesn't just disappear, right? It's still with you. Sister Gina used to say, your baggage is waiting for you on the other side of the ordination ceremony. And sometimes the things that you carry, though, they are quite beautiful to you. They may have values. And for me, there were values around how we put our understandings into action. This is something that was very important for me. For example, my love for the earth, for our Mother Earth, our planet, and how do I live my daily life so that I am nourishing a beautiful relationship there. And then you enter into community and it becomes very complicated because now it's not up to you anymore. And I brought concerns like that to Thầy, and Thầy would listen very patiently. And then he would say, go talk to your Sangha about this. This is not something for Thầy to decide for you. This is something for you to do with your Sangha, to find the right path together. And that kind of encouragement. I want the quick fix. You know, I want to go to the top of the power line. Can you do this for us, right? Make it happen. And the Thầy would redirect redirect you back into your relationships. So for example, I wanted us to buy organic food in the Upper Hamlet. I really did. I wanted us to source our food as locally as possible, to meet the growers and the farmers in the region, and to buy our food, our organic food. And I would really try to make that happen. And I wrote little diagrams out for the other brothers. You see the connection between the depletion of resources, the pesticides, the herbicides, and all this, and corporate monopolies on supermarkets. And I was trying to tell everybody about these things and why we have to act in this way. And I was full of my exuberance and my passion for this. And I met a wall. Sometimes the brothers would just listen to me, the older brothers just listen to me and have nothing to say. And I felt dismissed. I felt not valued, like maybe this wasn't my place. So that process, when Tai turned me around, he turned me around into the fire. So I had to learn to take care of those painful experiences, but I also, the encouragement was to go work on this, talk to, listen to, communicate with your Sangha. And so I also just persisted, but I persisted not with my project, but with my listening and my wanting to understand why. And that meant backing up a little, not pushing, and listening, becoming curious, becoming interested in why is it that my inspiration, which I thought would be a very good thing for all of us, was causing fear and contraction in others. And then I discovered a few really beautiful things. It's like if you had 10 euros and you could buy 5 kilograms of carrots that were organic with your 10 euros, that's good, right? But if you have 10 euros, you could buy 10 kilograms of conventionally grown carrots. And this is explained to me, right? Of course I knew this also, but and then the brothers would say, so they might say something like, I was in a refugee camp. I have been without any carrots and no euros and suffered a lot. It's very hard for me to think about spending so much money on that food and so many resources on that food. And I had suddenly this awakening of understanding and some love for my siblings because of that. So this process is opening my heart in sensitivity, in learning. And if I continue to be present in that space, I learned something else, that my brothers would take only 5 euros for carrots and use the other 5 to send to Vietnam to help the hungry children. So it wasn't a wall of resistance that I was meeting, it was already wisdom in action. It was just a different wisdom and a different action than the one I wanted. And so, I guess I would encourage, if you find yourself in a position like that, where you meet that in what seems to be the institution or the elders or the normal thing around you, to, especially in our community, to really listen and ask and become curious, because I'm sure everyone is doing their best. And we can be beautiful together like that. So then we had the chance to understand each other, right? They could understand my aspiration and I could understand theirs. And then we start to find a way. The path opens. Patience. Yeah.
Earlier we spoke about stereotype. And this question is for Như-Mai. We can call it understanding is love. What is a common story that people tell about your generation that is not true? False accusation? How can we replace that label with a deeper and more loving understanding? So this is your time. This is it.
This is hard to answer because I don't represent the entire generation of young people in the entire world. But we do have a council of youth here at the retreat from different countries. And I did go around and survey some of them to ask, what do you want the elders to know about young people? And so maybe this can be connected, because sometimes the stereotype is connected to what we would want the elders to know. Maybe one stereotype is that young people, they just want to play around and sing and play games and have fun. And that's young people actually want to practice deeply, at least. No, I was going to say at least among the people here, but I am also a psychotherapist at a university, so I can speak on behalf of that population as well. Young people want to find meaning in their life as well. You know, so life isn't just about fun and games. Young people also want to find meaning, a very, very deep meaning, and live life fully. And because young people also suffer, I think we forget that young people suffer too. I work with young people who have thoughts of wanting to kill themselves or have been through trauma. There's also a very deep aspiration to transform and practice deeply. And so we want to find meaning and practice deeply as well. Maybe another stereotype is that we just, well, one fear that I've heard is young people ordaining and maybe not being respectful of sexual boundaries or engaging in sexual misconduct, because we just like to date and, you know, find our partner in the world. But actually, as we learn more about healthy sexuality and healthy boundaries, I find that more and more young people are learning about consent and respecting each other's sexualities and identities. And young people are, at least the ones that I know, are very aware of wanting to protect each other's deepest aspirations and prevent further harm. And maybe another this last stereotype I will share is one worry I've heard is that young people should just get a real job. And it's some stories I've heard are young folks in our generation who just want to practice right livelihood, where we can work in a way that we don't cause further harm to others or society or further harm to ourselves. But there are some countries and societies where it is not easy to practice right livelihood in the current culture or structures there. So we have to find another way to provide for ourselves that still takes care of ourselves and takes care of others. And it might not look like how the majority population work. We might have to do it differently. So that's all I have to share right now.
Thank you for helping us to understand more about young people. Shelley? Yeah. We know that every generation carries its own cross, own challenges. How do you see the weights of today's youth being different from your own? And how are you showing up to help them carry it?
Thank you. I do think the world is very different, and that the burdens that young people have today are very different and heavier than the ones I had. I was raised in the 1950s and 1960s in the southern part of the United States. And there was a system then, a legal system, very explicit, called segregation. And segregation is the American form of apartheid. So there was also, at the same time, the civil rights movement, which was a movement primarily of African American people. They did have some allies in other communities, Asian American community. Some rabbis were very close to Dr. Martin Luther King, who was one of the great leaders of this movement, and whom Thai considered a great bodhisattva. So I had hope. I knew that things could change because I could see this happening every night on the television. I could see African American people rising up and working for their liberation. And because of that, other people started rising up. There was a women's movement. There were the what was called then the gay rights movement. So I had a feeling growing up, even though I didn't understand all these different forces, I knew there was hope in the air. And there was the possibility of change. People were empowering themselves and believed that they could make deep changes in society. You could taste that feeling at times. I'm not sure if that feeling of hope is still as strong. And I think there are other burdens that younger people carry. The tremendous burden of polycrises, especially climate change. And I also think that another burden is being bombarded 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with bad news, with misinformation, with disinformation. And I think that is cultivating the seeds of despair in people and hopelessness and disempowering people. I also think part of that is social media, which I don't think we understand yet how this really is going to affect both this generation and further generations. I think that there's also hope because young people are using social media. The young people who inspired and created the Arab Spring, organized through social media. And I see young people last year in Nepal dismantling a corrupt government and empowering themselves and putting young people with new ideas, with different ideas about how to improve their society, putting them in positions of power and authority. So, as with everything, it's interbeing, it's a mix. I think there's a lot of despair and hopelessness and a search for action, a search for solutions. Yeah. Oh, I didn't say how I was showing up.
It's okay.
Okay.
Yes. And you ended up with a search for action. And one of that ways is perhaps to come together as a Sangha. And I know that you work closely or you practice closely with wake-uppers in the Netherlands and with young people. The Sangha that you attend is an all ages Sangha.
I help with the Wake Up Retreat. My home Sangha and the OI Sangha, it's primarily older people, and a lot of them, particularly in OI, with hair like mine.
Which is white hair, in case if you can't see.
Yeah. And I do get a sense that that is changing, which is a very good thing.
So, searching for action, which really requires harmony, could you share with us what are the conditions that could contribute to the harmony?
Deep listening and creating opportunities like this. Because I realize, because of this retreat and because of this panel, that I really don't have a lot of daily contact with young people. That I will help with different retreats, and that give me so much and are so much fun and also very enriching. So I think, particularly on the part of older people, to really practice deep listening and ways that we could make, if our Sangha is not multi-generational, to listen to ways we could make it more welcoming. So it's not our Sangha, it's everybody's Sangha.
I'd like to thank Shelley for sharing peacefully and compassionately when mentioning the challenges that young people these days face. And Ernest, in a world changing faster than you could ever foresaw as a newly ordained member and a young person, how do you protect your inner peace and keep your inner fire from being extinguished by the weight of global crisis so that our elders and our Sangha members know that you are okay?
Yeah. Post-COVID, I think I tend to see my life as pre and post-COVID. Because I think for my generation, life really changed after COVID. Already life before COVID was in crisis. We already had a crisis. But then after COVID, it seemed so much collapsed and then so much accelerated towards violence. And all this affected me personally. I was working in the TV and film industry, and after COVID, 8 out of the 10 jobs I would usually get completely disappeared. With every crisis or conflict in the world, there would be these domino effects that would eventually affect us in Kenya. And for me, one of the things that gave me a great foundation for inner peace was having a routine. I remember listening to a talk by Sister Chanduk where she explains how having a good routine is like having the spine of a leopard. It needs to be flexible. And this is an image that stuck with me through these difficult times when I had nothing and I was very much in despair about what was happening in my personal life, but also in the world. Having a routine that was grounded in work, study, practice, play. So it stretched over everything from how I sat, how I ate. And this gave me kind of like a platform on which to be able to access my despair. Sister True often talks about composting your despair, turning it into volition. I feel like I couldn't be able to do it without a very strong routine that gave me the strength to access these feelings and then look at my life and say, how can I contribute now? Who can I give compassion to now? You know? And this made me look at my life in a very ultimate dimension way. I could access the ultimate dimension and seeing even things like just teaching my niece English was a contribution to this world. How I walked and my niece seeing me and my wife doing walking meditation, this is a contribution to the next generation. For as long as I can do the walking and my niece can see me walking, there's a chance she can see that there is a chance that this can be transmitted to her. And so I left the historical and came into the ultimate and kind of looked at how all the actions in my life, how can they help transmit this energy of peace and healing around me first? You know, how can I do that now? And it gives me a sense of freedom that I have done the best I can. and therefore I can let go.
Thank you for giving us hope. I have done the best I can so that I can let go. Will we be able to remember that? Okay, I will ask you later. Let's make a little shift. Let's talk about patriarchy. It's a topic that we haven't shared. And we come together to look into life's problems and challenges. When different generations come together to look deeply, we can find a way out. Slowly. We might not be able to fix it, but we can just open the door a little bit. Right? So, Như-Mai, patriarchy is an issue that brings us together to learn, to reflect, and hopefully change the way that we think and act. And many people, especially young people, are very comfortable to share openly about patriarchy or call it out when patriarchy is happening. How do you feel about patriarchy? And what are some concrete ways we can do to help change the pattern? And also in the Sangha, do you see patriarchy in the Sangha? Dear Sangha, do you see patriarchy in the Sangha? Can you raise your hand if you see it? Oh my goodness! I thought we don't have patriarchy in Plum Village tradition.
Sister, maybe you can help define patriarchy for our translators to make that a little helpful.
Could you help me to define it? Yes, Shelley, could you help to define patriarchy? She's my lifeline. Yeah.
Patriarchy is a system, a way of thinking, a way of being that values men or masculine values or masculine ways of thinking, values that over other ways of thinking. It's very, I'm speaking dualistically, and it's more complex than that, of course. But it's a system that values men over women, boys over girls, male lives matter, females or women and girls. I'm not sure how non-binary fits into this, so I need to think more about that. It values men and male values and male priorities and male concerns over the concerns of women and girls. Women and girls exist to serve men and boys.
Thank you for defining a very complex topic for us. And I will share something, but I do want to hear from Michael of how Michael unravels patriarchy. But if patriarchy exists in our society, then it exists within our Sangha. And it exists within ourselves. Okay. So if patriarchy exists in our society, it exists within our Sangha and within ourselves. So I think it is important for us to, all of us, to accept that, even if it's painful to accept it. Sometimes it's hard for me to accept that I am also, the dictator and the tyrannous actions are also in me, because maybe I have a certain ideal of who I'd like to see myself. I like to see myself as a good person. And to accept that there are also these elements within me can be painful and hard sometimes. And so I think the first step is the acceptance part. And I'm going to pass it to you, Michael. No pressure.
So, dear Sangha, as you could see, if I were to ask you this question, what is your answer? Who up here has the most privilege? So the one in the middle, yes. So Brother Michael, as a white, cis, tall, heterosexual man, can you help to say not say patriarchy, can you help society to become aware of patriarchy and help to slowly eradicate patriarchy?
We did hear that this topic might be discussed a few days ago, so I'm a little already ready, a little. But you did just add quite a few intersecting layers into patriarchy there, with the white and all this stuff. I'll try to stay to patriarchy. Without deflecting, this is not a deflection, because I will come back to me. But if I'm going to say in the Plum Village community something about this, I first want to stop and to acknowledge Shuko Chengham. I know that Thai opened some doors in this realm of patriarchy. Patriarchy is very present in Buddhist communities and culture and the inheritance of that, and still present in Vietnamese Buddhism as well. And Thai may have opened a door, but Sukhochen Kam walked through it and has led our community into a single generation of transforming a tremendous amount of inequality in our circles of practice. Very boldly, without, well, I don't know if she was ever without fear, but I feel like she had no fear. So I just wanted to take a moment to be aware of that, and I have so much gratitude for that. And I see it, and I see the opportunity to keep growing that has been offered by those bold steps that she has made, maybe is continuing to make. I mean, yeah, we are here. I could also acknowledge my mother. My mother and my two sisters mostly raised me. And one of the things I learned from that experience, my father was very kind, very accepting, very supportive of equality and the potential for transformation in gender roles and relationships in my family and in the world. And he just continued to do what the men would do and what he was supposed to do, which left no space for my mother to find her way and to follow her dreams. And that divided our family, because my mother also took those bold steps to find her own way, and I followed her. And I learned from that just having kindness and acceptance and a wish to support this kind of transformation we're looking to with patriarchy, just having, as a man, having that's not enough. I need to also do something. Yeah, I need to also do something. I find this sits very clearly in my relationship with my own suffering in my heart. And if I can be there with sensitivity and kindness, when your body is associated with the immense suffering on our planet, right, like mine is, I cannot not feel shame. And that can be paralyzing in so many ways. And I've had to learn to go there, to like you were saying, sister, right? To go to that place in me, where this lives in me, and learn how to be present with that. When I was a monk, I wasn't always the best monk. There were times I wasn't so well behaved. I pushed the limits of the fine manners. The fine manners are the detailed way of relating to yourself and the world and other people around you when you are a monastic. And I pushed the edges of those a little bit. Out of my youthfulness, but also probably because I thought that I could, right? A little privilege there. And Tai did call me out. And in front of the whole Sangha, he invited me to practice a repentance practice for 20 days. And I was to practice touching the earth to Avalokiteshvara each day, and to write down my experience, my reflection, and my insight. And during that practice, I learned so much. First of all, I was entirely humiliated by being brought to this repentance practice in the context of the Sangha. And so all the seeds of shame, all the seeds of what I might be trying to cover up by making myself big, all of that was on fire. And I had to hold that as I touched the earth. But we had a reading the other night of Thai's in the music ceremony, where he talked about walking on the campus at Princeton, and for the first time experiencing truly, I have arrived, I am home. It was in that repentance practice that I had that experience for myself, to fully know present moment, wonderful moment. But it wasn't a joyful, happy, sunlight shining, flowers experience. It was deep in my heart, going all the way to the core of my suffering and holding that. And that relationship has stayed sacred to me. And the only reason I'm telling you this story is because that's how I hold patriarchy. I hold it here. I walk each day, I feel the ache in my heart. Because I do. And I hold that. And I'm not afraid of it anymore. That's what I learned in that repentance. But I do have to, it's not an attainment, it's a practice. Every day I have to go there with my breath and be present with that, to be sensitive. And then I give space. And I support. And just one last thing, because I talked about action, and on behalf of male-bodied and men and masculinity, there's work we have to do in our community of men, masculine identities, right? To actually get together and process this together, and not just do like what my father and many have done and said, oh, it's so lovely that this is happening, and sit back and watch, right? We have to be engaged. We can mentor and share with each other and really grow to create a new relationship to this this experience that somehow our world evolved into. Yeah, thank you.
I'm very touched by what you said, that the patriarchy is also inside. Because patriarchy is also a way of thinking. It's a way of thinking that control is the ultimate value, not compassion, not wisdom, control. And that the person who can control other people is the highest person, the person deserving of most respect, the person with the most power. So, and that kind of thinking is also in me. Certainly, as a white woman, that thinking is very much in me. I think these diseases in our society, like misogyny and racism, that, yeah, patriarchy is kind of a breeding ground for these ideas that there's one group that should be in control and has the right to be in control. And that having power over people, rather than cultivating, I think, the more powerful power, which is the power inside, the power of knowing our own minds, that is real power. It's power within. It's cultivating our agency, not having power over others and domination, which is the kernel for colonialism and racism. So I think that the work that the brother is doing is extremely important, and that by doing this work, you free yourself, and you are also freeing me as a woman. And as a white person, for me to look at white awareness, that's helping my sister and my brother. The fact that they work on their liberation, that they are cultivating their inner spirituality and their inner power and agency and calling out things that need to be called out, that's freeing me also. It's very painful. But I think that as Buddhists, as practitioners, we are in the business of liberation and transformation. And this is a deep part of it.
Sister, could I have one small comment? Forgive me for adding a little bit more, but I wanted to, while the opportunity is here, I feel awkward doing this because there is a perception of me in my mind of being of a hierarchy with the monastic community, being a lay person now, right? But I love my sisters and brothers so much in the monastic community, and I treasure their practice so much, but I want to invite all of the monks to really think about this practice too. Being a monk does not exempt you from this practice of embracing the suffering of the patriarchy, and in the monk's relationship to the nuns' communities. You can feel it. You can hear it in the backroom tea conversations. And I really want to invite you all to take this. You are leaders, and you are sitting in front. Like I sit here, maybe you see me as an older brother because I was here before you a long time ago, but to me, you are leading the way. You are holding the heart of the practice in the community, and the examples you set are the ones that we learn from. Yeah, so I just wanted to add that layer. And invite any of you who would like, who are male-bodied, to come to the men's retreat we have at Morning Sun in the fall, where we're doing a lot of this good work together.
And thank you so much. I am aware of the time. And the last question, perhaps we can just say in 1 or 2 sentences. What can you do to build a stronger connection and understanding with the youth? So this question is for Ernest and Như-Mai, for the youth. And then I will ask another question for both of you. Yes.
for my experience, whenever I have been lucky enough to connect with elders in this community, it has been because we have had both a shared dream and a shared joy. When we sat for our rehearsal, we were there when Brother Michael and Như-Mai instantly connected on their love for epic fantasy. And they almost took over the whole meeting just talking about epic fantasy. And it was such an instant connection. And we know as a community, we have a very common and solid goal to bring peace to this world. But the joys may be different. But they are not stuck to generations, is what I'm seeing. I connect with Joanne Rosen, for example, because we love teaching. We love the science and the art of teaching and communicating. So we geek out on that together. So for me, the question is, how can we deliberately create conditions for these shared joys to be explored and brought to life, so that then it's much easier to create this connection between whether it's older youth or different generations of practitioners. How can we do that within our community?
I have more than one or two sentences. But I just want to re-emphasize what Ernest said in terms of connection. In my survey of the young people here, it was a common thread that we as young people want a relationship with the elders. We genuinely want a relationship. And we want to spend time with you, spend time practicing together, spend time checking in with calls or going on walks. And we also want to know you. We want to know our elders in terms of, we don't just want to know your wisdom, we want to know your life. What are your fears? What are your dreams? What is your suffering? Because when you can share with us your suffering and how you practice with it, it doesn't actually diminish our perception of you. It actually helps us connect and inspires us in our own practice. And we also would love for our elders to get to know us. So instead of instantly wanting to share with us your wisdom, it would be wonderful if you asked, what do you think? What do you think? How do you feel? How is your life right now? We don't want a Dharma teaching all the time. It's nice to get a Dharma connection. Yeah. So we would love for you to get to know us, our own fears, our own hopes and dreams and suffering. And we don't need to fix any of it. We can just be together. But sometimes our elders might wait for the young folks to reach out, but sometimes young folks feel a little intimidated. We feel intimidated, or we worry that our elders are too busy, or it would be a burden for us to reach out. And so it would also be very wonderful if our elders can just check in sometimes. How are you doing? Would you like to go have some tea? If elders can also initiate a connection and initiate curiosity.
Thank you, Ernest and Như-Mai. Yes, we want Dharma connection, not just Dharma teachings, because sometimes too much Dharma can turn into drama. Just Dharma in moderation. So this is for our two elders. What is the unfinished work of your heart? The dream or the task you could not complete yet, and that now you feel a deep sense of trust in the youth to carry forward.
Dear Thai, dear beloved community, I've tried to lessen violence in my life, and I've tried with many people, known and unknown, hundreds of thousands, millions of people who are doing small and bigger actions to try to reduce violence and the harm of violence. I feel my legacy, I'm passing on active nonviolence trainings. So I feel like I've sprinkled seeds. And I have a feeling that a lot of these seeds are taking root. The kind of things I think are happening, because so much is happening that I don't know about, and the kind of things that will happen, active nonviolence training that has been integrated into the teachings and to the practice for Wake Up, for International Wake Up, to have an active. Thank you. I would love to see trainings at regional basis, so a training for African participants and for African trainers to come to Northern Europe, to Southern Europe, to Asia, and Asian trainers and South American trainers come to North America, to Africa, to Asia, because I feel very strongly active nonviolence is such a essential part of the path, and this is what I hope is my legacy.
Dear Thai, dear friends, what I'm going to share feels a little small, which is good. I feel very inspired by your seed watering. Yeah. So, as many of you may be aware, a dream that I have held and have actively worked on and am still not letting go of is the building of lay practice community where we can live more closely together and not be pulled so easily into the ways of mainstream, fast-paced modern society, and have a chance to nourish deeply and grow deeply. And so the initiative that we've been working on is the Morning Sun Mindfulness Center and Community in the northeastern part of the United States. We have about almost 20 of us who are living there now. And we don't live apart from society. We live interacting with many, have professional engagement with society and livelihood like that. But we also support ongoing programming and being together and building intentional community all year long. And this is very difficult. It is a very difficult practice to hold that space when there's so much energy going in another direction. I feel sometimes like I'm standing in the river and the current is moving very fast, and I need to really keep my feet on the ground. And so the work in that to really answer your question, what is the unfinished work? It is to find that stability in the Dharma practice together with other people in community, really locking in to withstand the current and to keep our feet on the ground and continue to offer the most beautiful and stable and free things that we can. And so a particular piece of that dream I want to realize in the next 3 years at Morning Sun is to have a kind of long-term stay program where younger folks, not just younger, I should say, anyone who's got the energy and a lot of energy to work with your body, but also to work on meditation and work on community building, to be able to have 6 months, 9 months, a year immersed in the community, supporting the program and building the place and all of that. And we haven't yet realized that kind of an intern or work meditation program yet at Morning Sun. That's something I really want to see happen. But obviously I can't do it myself, right? So I'm hoping that this impulse is shared and that we can find our people to help realize this.
And dear beloved Sangha, this is it. We have to come to an end. So thank you so much for panelists for being here, and we are so moved by the wise wisdom as well as your compassionate sharings. There's so much understanding, isn't it? So, dear Sangha members, please, when we return to our local Sanghas, have a fireside chat like this. If you would like the questions, I'll be happy to share with you the Google document. We started with a song, so now we'd like to end with a song. Do you know the song Wake Up? Yes. We have a group of friends who like to offer this song to the Sangha. Are you ready? Where are you? Please come up.
Any Wake Up friends who know Joe Riley's Wake Up song? Come on up. Don't be shy. And also any monastics who know the Wake Up song? You don't need to know the whole song. You just need to know the chorus.
So, while Wake Uppers and friends come up, maybe we can share with them the chorus? The whole Sangha?
Yeah.
Yeah? Như-Mai, could you help us with that?
I'm going to stand up with my Wake Up friends, yeah. So the chorus goes, we're planting seeds for new communities. It's time to wake up, to be the change in the world we want to see. It's time to open up, redefine society. No, don't give up. We're planting seeds for new communities. Please wake up, 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 wake up. Okay, we need to get the right key though. That wasn't official. That wasn't an official start. Yeah, let's stand together. Yes. And then there are hand movements. Ellie's gonna lead the hand movements. You ready? Go ahead, sister, you can get us started. This is impromptu, we did not rehearse this. Planting seeds for new communities. It's time to wake up, change in the world we want to see. It's time to open up, redefine society. No, don't give up. You're planting seeds for new communities. Please wake up, wake up.
Open your eyes.
Wake up.
Please realize
Wake up.
you are skillful and wise.
Wake up. Wake up.
Open your eyes.
Wake up.
Please realize
Wake up.
you are skillful and wise.
Wake up. Wake up. She dreamed bigger. She dreamed brighter. She had the energy of wholeness to guide her. And when she stopped to look inside her, she listened to her inner voice and said, I can clearly see my choice to live in this new way, to take time each day, to meditate and to pray. It is a new day, and there is so much more that I need to say. So I'll keep walking on the earth in this sacred way. We're planting seeds for new communities. It's time to wake up, to be the change in the world we want to see. It's time to open up, redefine society. No, don't give up. We're planting seeds for new communities. Please wake up, wake up. Open your eyes. Wake up. 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 Wake up.
Walking on the path, he could hear his heart whisper, keep your spirit growing bigger, keep flowing in the river, believe in yourself, let your heart be your guide. You could use your suffering to grow your love wide. There's more wonder in the world than you can see now. Stay true to your path, you don't have to know how. Be compassionate and kind to your body and your mind. Practice patience, it takes effort and time, one day at a time. Planting seeds for new communities. It's time to wake up, to be the change in the world we want to see. It's time to open up, redefine society. Don't give up. We're planting seeds for new communities.
Please wake up. Wake up. Open your eyes.
Wake up.
Please realize.
Wake up.
Coming together from all 10 directions. We have a deep affection for the truth. We are the youth of all ages, more than just Insta pages. We are living, breathing realities. We are new, loving, compassionate, inclusive, sustainable community. It's time to wake up, to be the change in the world we want to see. It's time to open up, redefine society. No, don't give up. We're planting seeds for new communities. Please wake up, wake up. Open your eyes.
Wake up
to new sunrise.
Wake up.
You're beautiful and wise.
Wake up. Wake up.
Open your eyes.
Wake up
to new sunrise.
Wake up.
You're beautiful and wise.
Wake